Okay, welcome everyone. So this is the second session for our civil class. So I'll be guiding everyone for quite a lot of topics because I realized that now it's February, end of February already. So I believe mostly your lecture will be have covered at least half of the syllabus already, isn't it? All right. So I will be guiding you all for the chapters and also the elements for these chapters. So first one, we'll be going to the parties. So the parties that the key point for studying a party is you have to know that who should be cited in the action. So and also how to remove or add a party in the action and also the application. So the first one is individual for more than 18 years old, according to Order 5, Rule 6, Rules of Court 20 and 12, he or she can bring the action by himself or the solicitor. So that means zoom into the screen, all right, sorry. Now can see or still very small. Okay. So for individual right is if you are more than 18 years old, you can either bring the action by yourself or the solicitor. However, disability sometimes is very tricky because the disability, how to define a person disabled as per the rules is defined under Mental Health Act 2003. So I will be putting here never mind, I will add it later. So because the disability can be a children, a child, or person under and having a mental problem. So that means for these disability persons, he or she must bring this action via a legal representative, and the litigation representative is acted by a solicitor. So in case you are a company, so according to this rule, Order 5, Rule 6, sub 2, this a company must be represented by a solicitor. Is that okay? Okay. In case there is a partnership, so the partnership means that there are more than one person to form a company. Let's say in a very common, I will give you a very common example like a clinic or a law firm. Because these are managed by more than one person, more than one partner, so there is a partnership. So the partnership is you must sue or be sued in the name of the partnership. But if or the individual partner, sorry. However, the benefit of suing the name of partnership will be easier and more convenient because for the purpose of serving the documents and to enforce the judgment, in case you are suing in individual partners, there are some challenge because somehow they can say, oh, this partner shall already or no longer working in here or today is not here, but the partnership, the firm itself will be still there and easier to serve the documents. Okay, now we come to we are coming to sole proprietors. So the sole proprietor is that you are the only one man who runs the business. So according to Order 77, Rule 9, if the sole proprietor want to sue someone, he must sue in his own name. But if the person is a defendant, can can be sued in the name of himself or the name of company. So I will give you an example as this is the name of the person trading as this company. Is everyone okay on this? Okay, thank you. Now the societies, the example is like is that software or any clubs. So this is not founded in the rules of court, but in the Societies Act. But under this act, right, you must the club itself can sue under in the name of the public officer. If there is no public officer being appointed, then any office bearer can sue or be sued. Who are the office bearer? Here are the examples, such as chairman, secretary, or the treasurer. Okay. Now, the federal or state government. So the federal government and the state government sometimes will be look a bit confused because this is for me because the first time I thought these are the same. So that the federal government is the central government. The state government is divided into different states. So in case you are suing the federal government, you have to sue, they can sue or be sued in the name of government of Malaysia. However, if state government can be sued in the name of the state. So here are the example, Selangor Darul Ehsan or Pahang Darul Makmur. Now it comes to the estate of a deceased person. According to Section 8 sub 1 of the CLA, you have to see what kind of the cause of action is still survive and will not survive. If the person, the cause of action is adultery, defamation, or seduction, the cause of action will not survive and you could not sue the person anymore. This makes sense because the people die already, how you're going to sue the person, a dying person for doing such thing, right? So looking at Section 8 sub 3 CLA, if you are going to bring the action against the representative of the deceased person, you must do it within the 6 months after the PR has extracted the grant of representation. This is the case. Otherwise, it's time barred and we cannot bring the action. However, there is an exception. So in case the cause of action is still valid, the PR can still proceed with the action, which means that right now you are going to sue the person for this act, and you see his PR is liable for the consequence, so that you can still bring an action against him. So the question is whether the PR has the right to bring the action. Now, there are two situations. The first thing is testacy, which means that the person died with a will. So you can bring, so the PR has the right to bring the action after the grant of representation is extracted. So you see, this is the case for Yapa Chetty. However, if the person died without a will, he only has the right to sue or be sued after the extraction of the letter of administration. Here is the case, Ang Hoi Yin. The reason why I cite these two cases is because I realized that recent years, these are the questions often or frequently being asked. Okay, that's why I put it down on the screen so that in case you want to do your revision, you can refer to these two situations. So the next question is whether the PR can obtain the judgment before the grant is extracted. The answer is no. The PR can only sue before the grant is extracted but he cannot obtain the judgment until the grant is extracted. That means he can sue. He has the right to sue, but he cannot obtain the judgment. Here is the case, honey. Okay. So if the writ is issued in the name of the deceased person, if the deceased person is a plaintiff, is a nullity. This is the case. And however, if the deceased person is a defendant, yes, it is still effective because it can be substituted with the PR. And it is given under Order 15, Rule 6A, Sub 3 of your Rules of Court. Okay, representative action. So the representative action is that I am not sure whether I'm using this correctly, because the representative action is like one leader bringing the action on behalf of others. So according to your Order 15, Rule 12, in the plaintiff or the defendant can be sued or be sued in the capacity of a representative. So that let's say today, let's say this is an example. Let's say today we are a group of person, and then we are going to sue a person. So in case you all don't want your name appear, or you don't want to appear in the court to give testimony, I may use my name as Keith Tan, bringing this action in the capacity of a representative against blah blah blah. Okay, so how to bring a representative action? The requirement is given in the case of Will of Bedford. There must be the same class, suffer common grievance. The relief is beneficial to all, which means that whatever you get is fair for everyone, so that everyone is sharing the same. Okay, now we are going to joiner and misjoiner of party. The joiner of party is to add a party who was not added in the first place. But the misjoiner of a party is to remove a party during the action. Okay, so what is the requirement to add a party in an action? So this is given under your Order 15, Rule 4. There must be same question or law or fact, and the relief arises from the same transaction. There must be the same transaction. In another way, it must be happen in the same series of action. You cannot be like, oh, you add whole kampong masuk lah. Okay, so misjoiner of party, if you want to remove a person from the party because it's not necessarily to be joined, right? Yes, you can remove them, provided that it will not defeat the cause or matter. So it means right now in the action, I am bringing this action against A, B, and C. Suddenly, I realize that C is an innocent party who has accidentally joined as the party in the action. Right now, I want to remove him as the party, so I just focus on A and B. So the requirement to remove C is that this will not cause my action become invalid, because he is not necessarily or wrongfully being joined as a party. So how to apply is given under Order 15, Rule 6, Sub 2. Application is by notice of application supported by affidavit. Now, you see, if party wants to add a plaintiff or the defendant after the commencement of action, yes, it is allowed. Because as I said, you want to add a party, it's okay, provided that is from the same series of case or a transaction, or you see, now you see the application is given under Order 15, Rule 6, Sub 2B, with the leave of court. You must be the leave of court because you have to explain to the court that why this person not being joined in the first place, and now you are going to add them in this section. So nonetheless, notice of application supported by affidavit. So I will use this short form of NASA in the very frequent because it means the notice of application supported by affidavit. So how to add a court the core plaintiff is with the consent in writing. It's given under Order 15, Rule 6, Sub 4. And how to add a core defendant for the expiry of the limitation period. You see, in this case, government of Malaysia. Now you see, this is the federal government against Muhammad Amin bin Hassan. The court held that adding a new party after the limitation is time barred and you cannot. So everyone understand how to understand this topic already? Okay, so is anyone missing out, or do you all need me to further explain on which part? Because I can see the chat. It say from Sunday, you told me that more or less. So on which part you are still not clear?
So can you explain on that Order 15, Rule 6, Sub 2B?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one you want to see. You want so you are not sure, you are not understand on this.
Yeah, if the party wants to add a plaintiff or defendant after the commencement of.
Oh, okay. So basically, you see, when you already so in the initially when we file a court paper, right, no matter it's a writ summon or originating summon, there are the existing parties already, right? So during the action, right, you want to add some persons. You can be adding a plaintiff or adding a defendant. It can be inter alia. Plaintiff want to add a core defendant, or plaintiff want to add a core plaintiff. So either side can add another person.
Okay, sir, but this one, is it similar to like when you want to add like an intervener? In what cases this is different from intervener, sir?
Okay, for intervener, right, there are not. I will explain this in the next chapters, because intervener is a third party. They are not concerned. They are not concerned in the action, but the in joinder, they are the persons involved in the action.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So whether a defendant can add a core defendant, as I explained, yes, with the leave of court, you can add. This is the case, he awa. Okay, intervention. So this is the just now, because someone has asked me what is the difference between the joinder of party and the intervention, right? So this is provided here. The stranger may intervene into an action between the P and D, so that his name or her name will not appear on the court paper. It's like you are an outsider, but you want to know what is happening in this case. Okay, so the purpose is to prevent the injustice to the stranger. That means he or she must have some interest, legal interest. Okay, so the test is whether the right of the stranger is directly affected by the court order. So this is given in the case of Seri Permata Sembilan Berhad. the requirement for the intervenor action is that the stranger has the legal interest, not commercial interest. This is given in the case of Pearl Mining Sembilan Berhad. And the stranger has a pecuniary, which means a financial interest, and the application is made before the judgment. Okay? So how to apply for an intervention proceeding is that, according to Order 32 Rule 1, is by way of NASA, and it must make promptly before the judgment. So, the dependency claim, okay, so we have settled the chapter 4 for parties already. Right now, I will come to writ of summons. So, is anyone still not understand for any part in the parties? Okay, no good, no bad news, means good news. So I will start the chapter of writ of summon. So the writ of summon is that the cost paper is a cost paper. The writ summon is to start, is the cost paper that for the full trial, and it must be served with a statement of claim, and there are witnesses will be involved. Okay, what is the requirement to initiate a writ action? We already discussed earlier. It must be substantial dispute to facts. So the duration of a writ is given. So generally, the writ of summon is governed under Order 6 and Rule 7. So from sub Rule 1, you can see the validity is 6 months from the date of issue. And then sub Rule 2, the court may extend the validity of writ for twice, not more than 6 months in each application is given in the case of letters B. So the subsection 2A, the sub Rule 2A is that the application is by way of ex parte notice of application supported by affidavit. And then the contents of the affidavit must have shown what are the efforts that the plaintiff has made to serve the writ on defendant within 1 month from the date of issue, because you cannot simply go to the court and say, oh, I have the right. So you must extend the validity. Okay. Now, how to effect the service of writ? If you serve the writ to an individual, this is given under Order 10 Rule 1, Sub 1, personal service or AR registered post. For the ease of convenience, I have shown what is the AR registered post. So this is the card, the acknowledgement, and then this is the tracking, this is a sticker, and you must put on the envelope, and then you can use this number from the Post Malaysia website to track what is the status of the delivery already. Okay. You see, because in Malaysia we don't have we don't have the case in Malaysia, but the validity of personal service of writ is that you can see from these cases, Thompson and Penny, the process server throw the writ at the person is valid. So this case is quite funny because the process server is that you appoint a person, whether it's a runner or a dispatch boy, to serve the document that is the process server. So in this case, the process server throw the writ at the person and say, you are hereby served with the writ. And the court held that this kind of the service writ is a valid service. And in this case, those in Canton, the process server put the writ inside the inner jacket of the defendant, and the court held that the service of writ is valid. So, for the clarification purpose, personal service is that you must serve it to a person, you must serve it to the person himself or herself. Let's say today, Dr. Chi is going to sue me, right? He sued me by way of writ action. And then the writ must be served and directly to me, not anyone other than me living in the same house. It must be endorsed and acknowledged by me myself. This is the personal service. However, there are some exceptions. So, according to Order 10 Rule 1 Sub 2, if the solicitor already endorses that he will accept the service of writ on behalf of the defendant, yes, you can still serve the writ to the solicitor who already told you earlier. Or Order 11 Rules of Court, the service of writ is out of the jurisdiction. For this part, right, I will explain later. Okay, so in case you are serving a writ to a corporation, so there are different type of the address. First thing is the register office. Second is the principal office. So does anyone know what's the difference between the register office and principal office? Yes, Sandeep, you are correct. Register means the register address. Usually the registered address is you are registered, the company is registered with the company secretary. Yes, totally correct. Principal means principal place of the business. Thank you. So that the register office, you are serving by way of personally or post. But if you are going to serve on the principal office, it's via the registered post. So the handling of copy of the writ and the statement of claim is to the secretary, director, or any other officer in the principal office. Now we look at the service to a disabled person as what I said earlier, the minor or the mental patient defined under the MHA, Mental Health Act. So according to Order 76, Rule 14, if the person is a minor, then you serve the writ to the father, the guardian, the parents who is taking care of him. However, if the person is a mental patient, is an authorized person or the person he is residing with. Now we come to service to a partnership firm. So if you are serving to the individual partner, you don't want to go for the partnership firm. So you see, Order 10 Rule 1 applies. The personal service or AR prepaid registered post. So if you are suing in the name of the partnership, this is given under Order 77, Rule 3. You can give to any partner or any person who is in the control of the business. Now, when it comes to service to a sole proprietor, according to Order 77, Rule 9, the same as service to partnership, which is Order 77, Rule 3, to the person having control of the business. The service to the government, right, is given under Order 73 and Rule 3. If you are suing in the if you are service the writ to the federal government, you are serving on the AG himself. So just now I've given an example of the case government of Malaysia. So in case right now we are turning the position that I am suing the government of Malaysia. So when I want to serve, yes, it's to the AG of the department. So however, if state government, you just serve to the secretary of the state, it's enough already. This is given under Order 73, Rule 3. Okay, now here is the substituted service, the SS. What is the substituted service? When the defendant is evading the service of writ, it's given under Order 62, and then the wording is the service of writ is impracticable for any reason. Now, you see, most of the time when you are going to sue someone, right, makes sense, the person will be escaping himself from accepting the writ. Because at the moment he accepts the writ, right, he has to find a lawyer, or in case he couldn't find a lawyer, a judgment in default may be entered against him. So that to prevent this and for him to buy time, he will choose to evade the service. Even he's in the house, when the runner already arrived to his house, he can do in this way, like he never show his face at all. So your dispatch boy is unable, so the process server or the dispatch boy is unable to serve the writ to the defendant. So the way how to resolve this is that the plaintiff can apply for substituted service. How to apply for it? According to Order 62, Rule 5, is by way of notice of application supported by affidavit in Form 134 stating the facts. Or 62 Rule 5, Sub 3, the court's direction. It can be put on the newspaper sometime, because last time, this is my experience, because it was in other states, so that we already find a process server to serve the writ. But the thing is, the writ cannot be served. We already extended the validity of writ, yet it still cannot be served. Then we go by way of substituted service, and then we have to call to the newspaper. Then the court will give you on which particular newspaper you must put. They will give you either NST, the Star, if in English version. If the person is a Chinese, then you can give in the English paper. But if the person is a Malay, then they will give you on the local Malay paper. Pusan, blah, 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 they will give you the particular newspaper, and then you have to put it inside your affidavit. You have to insert it. I'm so sorry because I cannot share this. It's too P&C already, but this is what I experienced, and then I can share it with you all. So this is how they're going, now how they exercise the SS. Now, how to effect? You see, according to practice note 1/1968, 2 calls at the reasonable time. And the second call must be made by way of appointment, either AR registered letter to inform the time and date for the second service of writ, or you inform the occupant of the premise on the next date and time you are going to place the call. Because somehow when the process server, when you want to file the application for SS, in your affidavit, you must tell the fact how and why you cannot serve the writ, so that the runner will have to we have to prepare an affidavit for the process server. So on which day he been to the place of the defendant. So what he can see from the house, he has to take a picture. Like now this house has a car, and then got shoes, this and that, but nobody comes out and accepts service of writ, and the defendant informed by the occupant the defendant is not there, and what are the efforts, and these are the facts that you have to put inside the affidavit to support the reason for you to go for application for SS. So the two calls are to serve the writ, right? You cannot like back to back. Today you call, he don't accept, then tomorrow, no, it must be done in the reasonable time. Cannot call people on the midnight also. So that let's say today is Wednesday, at this time I already placed the call, then I wait for 2 days later, then I call another time. So because everything you already done, you must put in your affidavit. That is the thing. So that the two calls at a reasonable time or what else you have done, this is the law, this is the rules. Now you see the case D&C Bank, the court held that SS is applicable if the defendant is evading the service of writ. Somehow, some naughty defendant, they're very, very, very naughty. They're already at their house. You go to their house, right? They will ask anyone living with them to come out and say, hey, this person is not at the house. Orang ini tak ada dalam rumah. But you can see that his car is there. Yeah, this is the thing. Because this is the intention of the defendant is evading the service of writ. So you must know by way of SS. So the service of writ out of jurisdiction, which means that you are suing a foreigner lah. So everything is given under Order 11. So from Rule 1, for Rule 1 is the list of matters available for application to serve the writ out of jurisdiction. Rule 3, you see, the notice of writ for service out of jurisdiction must be in Form 7. And Rule 4 stating that the application of for the leave of court is required. And how to apply ex parte nasa. Rule 5, 2, and 3, you must comply with the rule of the country, like how to effect and what should you aware. They will be giving they will give you one. Okay, so Rule 5, Sub 8, undertaking to pay any expenses of service incurred. So is everyone okay with the chapter for it? Okay. Thank you. So now I will be going to chapter 6, the OS. Comparatively, with writ of summon, this one is cheaper. And this one, no witness is required. Everything is just quite straightforward because it's a question of law. So everyone still remember my joke on question of law and question of fact, right? So since this is a question of law, all you need to do is you just exchange of affidavits. So in your affidavit, you serve to the defendant already, and the defendant also replied with you by way of affidavit. So this is an exchange of affidavits between the parties only. So since it's not going for the full trial, the cost will be cheaper. So the duration and so the hearing, the duration and the renewal, you see, is same as wait. And the hearing of OS, sorry, here's a typo, I'm going to amend it later. Hearing of OS is in the chambers, which means it's not in the open court. It's given under the 28, Rule 3A of your rules of court. So the supporting affidavit, every OS must be supported by affidavit so that later I will see whether I have the OS example or not. Because the OS itself is by way of the OS action, everything is done by way of affidavit. So in your affidavit, if you want to put evidence, including in affidavit, you must file and serve not to the defendant not later than 7 days after the service of OS. So once you already served to defendant, the defendant reply shall not be later than 21 days. This is the timeline. So the court will give the direction, like making orders or to dispose the matter expeditiously. So the conversion of action, this is what we already covered in the first session. The court, in case you see, because OS is like everything is quite straightforward, but somehow when the opponent party is raising a triable issue, then the court may convert the OS into a writ action. And this is what we have covered in the first section. This will not causing the action not valid, as per the case of Ting and Q. Okay, so we have covered OS and also writ. So everyone, so far so good? Okay, now we are going to the chapter of appearance and judgment in default of appearance. So along this chapter, I will be using this JID, or somehow I noticed that some of you all might be using JIDA. So anyhow, it's the same because the judgment in default for of appearance. So that in this chapter, I will be covering how to enter into appearance and the timeline, and also the consequence if there is no entry of appearance, and whether the JID itself can be set aside. Now, appearance is that when you are already suing someone, let's say A is suing B. Now, when B already is being served with a writ and a statement of claim, he is given the time to enter into appearance, which means that he wants to defend. So that how to enter into appearance? Filing a memorandum of appearance. Okay, Order 12 Rule 2. But anyhow, entering into appearance is not necessarily done by a lawyer. Somehow, the person can be done by way of personal capacity. And then whether the defendant can set aside the writ after enter into appearance. Yes, this is given under Order 12 Rule 10. If the writ is irregular, like you are not comply with the jurisdiction, or it's not properly served, yes, you can raise this and set aside the writ. Okay, so how to enter into appearance? If you are individual, Order 12 Rule 1, by a person or a solicitor. If a company, no choice, but must by a solicitor. Disabled person, Order 76, by litigation representative, Order 76, Rule 6, or represented by a solicitor under Order 76, Rule 2, Sub 3. If no litigation representative appointed, you can apply to the court for them to appoint a litigation representative also. This is given under Order 76, Rule 6, Sub 1. If a partnership is given under Order 77, Rule 4, enter in the name of the partners, but continue in the name of the firm. Which means that the particular partner can enter into appearance, but on behalf of but the action is continued in the name of the partnership. So how long for the person to enter into appearance is given under Order 12, Rule 4, within 14 days after service of writ. And this is applicable in West Malaysia only. I'm so sorry to ask, is anyone here from East Malaysia? No one. Okay, because it's given under the same order and same rule. In East Malaysia, it's same division. I don't know what is the meaning of the division. That's why I need someone from the East Malaysia and let me know what is the meaning of division. Okay, never mind, we'll proceed forward. So the filing of late appearance is given under Order 12, Rule 5. You can enter appearance with the leave of court before the judgment is given. So now the next question is, what if defendant fail to enter appearance within the time frame? So the plaintiff can enter into judgment in default against the defendant, as the defendant has waived his right to defend. So now, what is a judgment in default appearance? Let's say right now I am suing A. Okay, now I am claiming him for 100,000 and interest, and this is what this is what included in the statement of claim. So if let's say the writ and the statement of claim are released up to A, and A did not enter into appearance, then after the 14 days, I can file to apply for the JID against A. So whatever I claim in my statement of claim will become the judgment in default. So that in the end, the court will say, okay, here are the things that the A has to give you. So this is the so-called JID. But according to the case of Re-Ulos AK Regain, a JID is not a final judgment until the 30 days is lapsed. So have to bear in mind the JID is like, now it's still the JID itself is like you have a judgment on your hand in your hand already, but it's still not finalized yet. Until 30 days has been lapsed, then you can only enforce the judgment because the defendant may apply to set aside the JID. Okay, so there are types of JID. Firstly is you are claiming for the liquidated demand, which means that your money is quantifiable, and then the possession of immovable property, like your house, your car, or any machineries. So interlocutory JID is for unliquidated damages, like to be assessed. The example is general damages, because as of the time, everything is not quantifiable yet. So, and also, so the retinue is delivery of wrongful detention of goods. And the third type is final and interlocutory, which is mixed claim. So that means you claim this and you also claim it for this. Okay? And also, just for a note, their ID cannot be entered for other claims like specific performance, injunctions. This is given in the case of Lamcom. Okay, you see, you see here is the case I re-endorse. The court held that JID will only become crystallized after 30 days, and the court has the discretion to set aside the JID. And this is given in Order 13 Rule 8. Now the next question is how to set aside. In the case of Evans and Butler, the court held that if the JID is entered irregularly, you can set aside as of right. However, if the JID is entered regularly, then you can set aside if there is a prima facie defense. So I will try to explain what is the difference between irregular entered JID. The the example of irregularly entered JID is that you serve to the wrong place. So because you serve the writ and the statement of claim to the wrong place, then the person cannot accept the writ. And then after the 14 days, you enter the JID against him. This is irregularly entered JID, so that you can set aside as of right. However, if the thing is regular, if everything is done regularly, you can only set aside if your defense is very, very strong. Okay? So the next question is how to set aside JID. So you see here is the order 42, rule 13. Within 13 days, you have to apply to the court and set aside. Never mind if you cannot done, even you cannot done in the 30 days, you can apply for extension of time under Order 3, Rule 5 of your rules of court. And the court will also consider the following factors in the case of sorting here: the length of delay, reason of delay, whether there's any prejudice caused to other party. So this case, for most of the time when you want to apply for extension of time, yes, this case and this Order 3, Rule 5 will be frequently being used. And then the next question is whether the JID can be entered against the government. Yes, as provided in Order 73, Rule 7 with the leave of court. Is everyone okay on the JID? Okay, now we come to summary judgment. This one is a very frequently asked in exam. So the summary judgment is that when you go for the trial already, right? Because sometime the parties want to dispose the case without going for the full trial. This is how the summary judgment comes in. So in the rules of court, there are few types of the summary judgment, which is general summary judgment, which is Order 14. Summary judgment on point of law, Order 14A. Summary for equitable relief, Order 81. And recovery of land, Order 89. The purpose of this is to dispose the case without going for the full trial. So how to apply for summary judgment? In case you already served the writ to the defendant and the statement of claim, and in the view that the defendant has no defense at all upon he has entered into appearance. Now you see the general SK. Under Order 14, the defendant has no defense and there's no necessary to go for full trial. How to apply? Order 14, Rule 2, Sub-Rule 1, NASA, and state that in the plaintiff belief that B has no defense. And Rule 2, Sub-2, the service has to be done within 14 days. Okay, so there are the exception to summary judgment under Order 15 is order 14 Rule 1, sub 1, the statement of claim is not served on the defendant. And then sub 2, if your cause of action is defamation of fraud, because unlikely this can be done by way of summary judgment. These are the tribal issue. And then Rule 1 sub 3, if order 81 applies, I will the order 81 I will be explaining later. So makes sense because we cannot using the same thing, we cannot using two things under one order. So when order 14 applies, you cannot use order 81. Okay, so rule 3 is that if it is a triable issue. Now, whether the delay will cause the application not granted, this has happened in the practice. This could be happen to some practicing lawyer also, because somehow when they already late to file the application, then sometime the court will penalize them for like the case is dismissed. So that when you see order 14 Rule 1, the time for the application is promptly after the defendant has entered into appearance. However, the delay will not cause the application not granted. This can be seen in the Krishnamurti case. He must explain the reason of delay, so that if the court accept the reason of why are you late for filing the application, you are still safe. Otherwise, if the court is not accepting, I'm so sad to say that your case is gone. So the hearing of summary judgment is given under Order 32, Rule 9 and 10, is in the chambers before a registrar. And in the case of the defendant raising a tribal issue, the court will give unconditional leave to lead to raise the defense. This is given under Order 14, Rule 3. And in the case of Champaka Finance, the court held that the defendant bears a burden of proof to raise a tribal issue. If the defendant is raising a set-off or counterclaim, so that I have to explain the difference between the set-off and the counterclaim. So let's say right now today I'm suing A for owing me 1,000 ringgit. And now A raised the defense that, hey, Kawan, I already repay you for 200 ringgit already now. So, okay, since I already agreed, there's a fact that he repaid me for 200 ringgit, my final claim will be from 1,000 become 800. That is the set off. But the counterclaim is a totally different thing. The counterclaim is where when you are suing A, and then A is not only denying and shifting another, putting another thing against you. It's like he's raising another set of cause of action. It's like I am not only denying, I am pushing the burden to you that you are the one who has the wrong side. This is the counterclaim. Is everyone clear between the set off and the counterclaim? Okay. So you see when the defendant raising a set off, the final claim for plaintiff will be getting lesser. But if the defendant raising a counterclaim, both sides claim are successful, then the defendant got his judgment for the counterclaim, and the plaintiff can get for his judgment for his claim. So sometimes the cost paper will be writing in this way. This is the original action. And then they will put a separate paragraph by saying that in counterclaim, that is how this is the procedure. So that in the original action, A is the plaintiff, B is the defendant. In counterclaim, B will become plaintiff, A will become the defendant. So when the defendant raises a counterclaim but no defense to plaintiff claim, okay, the judgment will be given for for the plaintiff, but the execution of judgment will be stayed until the trial for the defendant's counterclaim. Because no matter how, you still have to wait for the full trial, then you can only then execute the judgment. So here is the meaning. Now, the power of the court under this summary judgment, they will set aside or override the judgment if either party is absent. However, the aggrieved party may apply to set aside the summary judgment. How to apply? Order 32(b)(1) again. So what does it mean? Is that maybe today plaintiff is absent or today the defendant is absent. So the court may dismiss the action and the judgment can be entered. So if the aggrieved party, which means the party was sold already, they apply to set aside the summary judgment entered against them. They have the right. So this is how they apply for that. Okay, so any question you all want to ask?
Sir,
Yes.
just want to check with you regarding the proof of service of deed, right? Order 13, Rule 7, where they tell about the procedure. There they are saying that a judgment shall not be entered against a defendant under this order unless the plaintiff produces a certificate of non-appearance in Form 12. What exactly is this?
Order 13, Rule 7.
Rule 7.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
Now, here they say proof of service of deed. In Order 13, Rule 7, they say the judgment shall not be entered against the defendant under this order unless the plaintiff produces a certificate of non-appearance in Form 12. So when exactly, we have to give this particular certificate? Is it before the JID or how is it, sir? I don't understand. When you, let's say, when they don't enter appearance, then you have the affidavit. You have to make an affidavit of service, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Then, so when do we actually prepare the certificate of non-appearance in Form 12?
This is a very good question because so far, in my working experience, I never encountered this. Most of the time, this is the practical sense of how we're going to enter into the JID is that since everyone is given a 14 days time frame, right? So
yeah.
So at the time when you serve the writ, the date of service is not calculated, it's not included. So let's say today, I serve the writ to the defendant already. The calculation of the 14 day is start on 22. So that from that onwards, we count 14 days. If the defendant has not entered into any appearance, then we will file two things. The first thing is the non-appearance and then the JID. Two things must be filed after the 14 days, then the court, after the 14 days gone, then
Okay.
we are given the time to file these two documents. Then the court will extract the JID.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah, but so far I never encountered that we have to produce a certificate.
Yeah, because it's stated there. So I'm asking why. I mean, I was a bit not sure because just now you were telling about JID. So do we need to give this certificate of non-appearance together with the JID when you're filing the JID?
No. Usually we file two things on it. One is
Oh,
non-appearance and
okay.
then the JID. The reason why I keep mentioning the JID and the case of Re-Udos AK Regain, did you all already started with bankruptcy classes?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in the bankruptcy classes, the act of bankruptcy is that whether you have the final judgment, and Re-Udos is the case, is the landmark case. You got the JID doesn't mean that you got the final judgment. The final judgment will be only effected if the 30 days has been lapsed. This is my experience because the new bankruptcy act enforced on 2017 and the threshold is increased from 30K to 50,000. So the time it was a very crazy year for me because my boss managed to get the case from a financial institution. And the financial institution sent us 100 cases to file a person for bankruptcy.
Oh, okay.
It's totally crazy. So
Yeah.
whatever thing we got in our hand is the JID. Because the reason for the person entering JID is that the person knows he or she is sure lose. So that he rather get the JID instead of hiring a lawyer to defend for them. So let the plaintiff enter into the judgment and let the plaintiff to enforce bankruptcy against them. So we have to check through the JID. When is the JID? Whether when is the JID issue and whether the JID is valid. Because as what I already explained in the first session, enforcement of judgment is within 6 years.
Yeah.
So that we have to ensure that the judgment is still ready to enforce. We have to filter that because outside person may not know. So after we already filtered, yes, unfortunately, all of the 100 cases are still valid.
Okay, sir. Very
Yeah,
good. Okay. So that means it's JID. Once you get the JID, that means you have to wait. You have to give a 30 days grace period. Then only.
yes. Because the JID, when you enter already, right, uh, the other party may come out and then come to raise the defense and try to set aside.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I see Sandeep's question. What situation we need to use Order 62 Rule 6? Let me go and Google, ask Mr. Google what is Order 62 Rule 6 first. Sorry. Okay, I managed to find this, but please allow me to read this. Ordinary service. Actually, actually, Order 62, Rule 6 is a general explanation on how to serve the documents on it. Because okay, just to share with everyone, when you are doing a litigation case, you are not only to serve a writ of summons, originating summons on the affidavit. You have a lot of things to serve. Um, One example, right now, like let's say we are going for full trial already. So prior to the full trial, there will be exchanging of bundles. So and a lot of documents involved. So that's why Order 62 Rule 6 is generally explaining on how to effect the service of the documents. It's not confined to the cost papers only. Is that okay? So this one is not for use lah, it's just for the reference only lah. It's a general explanation of it for this Order 62 Rule 6. And somehow if any one of you are using the screen I still remember there is one very, very funny order. I cannot recall already. Uh, Please do allow me to find my rules of court. Okay, never mind because I didn't manage to find uh okay. Once I found a particular order already, then I will share in the group lah. Then you will see how rules of course is funny. Even the size they also can it can be included in the rules of court also. So apart of these two questions, is there anyone wants to ask some questions for the chapters we have been through? Okay, if there's no other questions, then I guess we can end this session now. Once again, thank you for everyone's attending. So I will see you all in the next session. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Okay, good night. For anything you all want to ask, you may contact me at my through the WhatsApp. Okay, see you in the next session. Bye.